would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
How ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years.
I think she's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous job.
Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table.
Y'all buckle up, because Whoopi Goldberg just got dragged like never before, and the way she's reacting, it's giving unhinged diva in distress. Allegedly threatening people, clapping back at critics, and even talking about jumping Karoline Leavitt. Oh yeah, it's getting dark real quick, because when Karoline Leavitt, former Trump White House staffer and outspoken conservative, decided to call Whoopi out on air and expose what she called Whoopi's dark secrets, let's just say The View turned into an all-out battlefield. And now people are wondering, has Whoopi finally gone too far? Let's get into the drama, because Whoopi hasn't exactly been everyone's favorite lately. In fact, she's been getting dragged hard across social media and even by longtime fans of The View. And it's not just over what she said this time, it's been building. A growing number of people are calling Whoopi toxic for Conversations. The critiques? Oh, they're brutal. They say she barely prepares, doesn't know the topics, and just coasts through episodes collecting her $1 million check. And honestly, the people might have a point. She constantly falls back on the same tired lines. The people will decide, or I don't believe in polls, every single time they touch on politics. That's it. That's her entire input. For someone sitting center stage on a political panel during an election year, that ain't it, sis. Not when you're raking in that Disney-level coin.
We said to people, vote. We didn't tell people who to vote for.
Right.
We just said, go out.
Well,
yes, but I did not.
Yeah, I did.
Because I wanted to make sure people exercise that right. Too many people that I know died trying to vote.
Yeah, right.
Okay? So we start with that.
And let's not even get started on how she constantly cuts off the other hosts mid-thought. Like, we get it, Whoopi, you're the big name, but let the others speak. Whether it's Sunny, Alyssa, or Joy. The conversation always gets awkwardly derailed when Whoopi jumps in just to say something vague and then move on. Many longtime watchers are now saying Joy Behar should be the permanent moderator instead. And honestly, they're not wrong. Joy knows the facts, keeps the flow going, and doesn't act like she's too above it all to actually engage. With her steering the ship, the show feels sharp and balanced. With Whoopi, it's giving snooze fest and side eyes.
I went to public school. I believe you got to go to private school.
There is zero statistical significance.
You got to go to private school.
Because nobody can figure out what's being said here right now. No, there is no last thing right now.
Now let's bring it back to Karoline Leavitt, the woman who shook the table and got Whoopi spiraling. When Karoline came on The View and started dropping receipts and challenging Whoopi's credibility live on air, Whoopi snapped. She shut her down so fast people thought the feed glitched. But it was all real, and it was all messy.
My team will review the applications and give credentials to new media applicants who meet our criteria and pass United States Secret Service requirements to enter the White House complex.
So White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt announced that the Associated Press has been banned from the Oval Office for not honoring the recent renaming of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. The mistake really is there's too much BS floating out there, and now it's out of our hands. There's no way to control it, so now they're saying they're going to control it. I want to see what they're going to do.
Let me be unequivocally clear about that. And watching this clip, I couldn't help but think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years.
Now here's where things go from bad to straight up catastrophic. Because behind all the glitz and glam of daytime TV, the cracks are finally starting to show. After Karoline's fiery clapback made headlines, former View staffers, yes, people who were actually in the room while all this drama unfolded, are allegedly starting to talk. And let's just say, they are not holding back. One former producer, who quietly exited the show last year, reportedly told an anonymous gossip outlet that this kind of bullying behavior isn't new. According to them, The View has been protecting Joy and Whoopi for years, even when they were accused of shutting down younger conservative voices. And not just on camera, we're talking about behind the scenes too. Staff members who dared to question the tone of the show or who didn't align politically with the hosts, silenced, passed over, even pushed out. One source claimed that HR complaints mysteriously disappeared after being filed. That alone is shady as hell. And now, after being exposed, again, Whoopi's doing what she always does, lashing out. Instead of addressing the criticisms, she's clapping back, throwing shade, and according to sources, allegedly threatening people behind the scenes. People are also bringing up the fact that Whoopi's been on this fake moral high horse for years. Remember when Trump first won in 2016 and she swore she was leaving the country? Said she'd pack her bags and be out of here? Like it's 2025 and she's still sitting in the same chair, sipping the same lukewarm tea. As one user wrote, still waiting for Whoopi to leave the country from the last time Trump was elected? And honestly, the silence is deafening. Now that Karoline Leavitt has officially rocked the boat, the whispers coming out of ABC are sounding real desperate. According to sources with eyes and ears inside the building, executives are practically begging Karoline behind closed doors to ease up before this spirals completely out of control. Like, they know she's got ammo, and they're shook that she might air all of it out in public. But something tells me Karoline is not here to play nice. She's already made it very clear that she's not backing down, and honestly, she's loving the attention. She's getting national headlines, new podcast invites, and tons of support from her conservative base. She's sitting comfy, while The View looks like it's dangling on the edge of a PR cliff. And the wild part? It all started with one segment, and now they're dealing with what's being called a legal firestorm. So what did The View say to set it all off? Let's break it down, because this was no light shade. Once again, The View decided to set their sights on Karoline Leavitt, and let's just say they did not hold back. They did what they always do when a woman with a different opinion walks through those doors. They mocked, belittled, and hurled reckless accusations. It all kicked off with Joy Behar, and y'all, the smug was smothering. Joy didn't even hesitate. She brushed off Karoline's entire political rise like it was nothing but a Trump favor. Yep. She claimed Karoline wasn't talented, wasn't hardworking, and definitely didn't earn her place. According to Joy, the only reason Karoline's name is even known is because Trump thinks she's a 10.
I think she's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
Whatever I'm saying, this is the first time that she's been she may be. But my point is that job would not maybe have been open to her.
No, I understand. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
Excuse me? We're really reducing an accomplished woman's entire resume to whether or not a man finds her attractive? From this show, the same show that won't shut up about female empowerment, glass ceilings, and women supporting women? The hypocrisy is on another planet right now. Then there was Sunny. And no, she didn't shade Karoline's looks like Joy. She didn't question her wokeness like Whoopi. This woman outright dismissed Karoline's entire career. Like, straight up acted like all her hard work, late nights, and grind meant nothing. According to Sunny, Karoline's success wasn't earned, wasn't deserved. It was just good old privilege. Yup. In her eyes, if a conservative woman climbs the ladder, it's not because she's ambitious. It's not because she showed up when nobody else would. Not because she went toe-to-toe with political veterans. Nope, it's just because the system handed it to her. Like, what? And don't think the Trump shade was left out of the conversation, because baby, they brought it right to the forefront. These ladies have mocked Trump, shamed him, and accused him of everything under the sun. So when Karoline started getting support from his base, The View went from shady to straight up condescending.
I think that their real problem in this election, one of the real problems among the many, is the misinformation and disinformation that was disseminated on social media by these influencers and by these podcasters. Why are they qualified to sit in the White House briefing room and tell America what is going on with the country? Traditionally, to become a White House correspondent or to be in that briefing room, you had to have a journalism degree. Yeah. You had to have qualifications. Yeah. So I guess the rise of mediocrity is here to stay.
Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help.
But here's the twist. On November 6th, when those election results rolled in and it became painfully clear that millions of Americans were not buying what The View was selling, oh honey, Twitter lit up like Times Square. Viewers were living for the moment these women had to face reality, that not everyone is sipping the same latte-flavored groupthink.
Won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts. The man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020. 89% of the counties shifted to the right. That's a mandate.
Let's be all the way real. This is a show that constantly beats the drum about celebrating women, uplifting voices, and supporting diverse perspectives. They talk the talk, smashing the patriarchy, breaking glass ceilings, feminism this, feminism that. But the second a woman steps into the spotlight who doesn't vote the way they want, who doesn't sip the same talking points, who speaks her mind without their permission, suddenly that same woman becomes a target.
Yeah.
And would you care to follow up, clarify what you said this morning?
I don't know,
because it confused some people.
It upset a lot of people,
Yes.
which was never, ever, ever, ever my intention. I thought we were having a discussion.
The public was not having it. Social media exploded with comments calling out The View's unapologetic, in-your-face hypocrisy. One viral tweet summed it up with chef's kiss accuracy. Wow, tearing down a woman. A young, brilliant, brave woman. Disgusting. Hashtag Karoline Leavitt is spectacular. And honestly, where is the lie? Now here's where it gets savage, because Karoline, she didn't just clap back, she went all in. Right after that episode aired, she took to Twitter and dropped a mic drop statement so brutal, ABC's legal team was allegedly scrambling within the hour. She called the segment a pathetic, coordinated character assassination and accused The View of relying on sexist attacks when their arguments fall flat. But that's not even the spicy part. Karoline hinted that she was consulting her legal team about the defamatory nature of the remarks, specifically Joy's comments about her only getting ahead because Trump finds her attractive. And y'all, once that D word, defamation, drops on the timeline, it's on. She also made sure to tag every major conservative media outlet in the post. And y'all, it worked. Fox News, Daily Wire, and half of right-wing Twitter jumped in like sharks smelling blood. Okay, so this part, it's the kind of plot twist that feels too crazy to be real, but insiders swear something went down behind the scenes. Apparently, after Karoline started lawyering up and right-wing media began blasting The View daily, Whoopi allegedly snapped behind closed doors. And get this, she allegedly told producers, "If this girl keeps pushing, I'll handle it my way." Well, let the whispers tell it. Whoopi has been known to get heated behind the scenes, but Yaijo's comment. It reportedly left some staffers uncomfortable and concerned, especially since it came off like a veiled threat. Some even believe that's why Whoopi's been absent from a few episodes lately. The network might be quietly trying to cool her off before she says something worse on air. And here's where things go full TikTok conspiracy level, because allegedly, Karoline's team is now collecting clips, behind-the-scenes footage, and possibly even staff testimony in case this situation blows up into a formal harassment or defamation case. And get this, sources close to her camp say Karoline is already in talks with multiple major media outlets for a no-holds-barred sit-down interview. Not a soft, PR-safe puff piece. We're talking a gloves-off, primetime-style expose. But that's not all. There's also chatter that she's preparing to launch her own podcast or platform centered on conservative women and political media bias, basically using her own experience as the blueprint. Oh, and word is, she's not just suing ABC. Nope, allegedly, she plans to personally name specific View hosts in her legal complaint, calling out the toxic environment and targeting them individually for defamation and workplace harassment. Now here's the $800 million question that's got everyone shook. Is ABC actually thinking about pulling the plug on The View? And I know that might sound extreme, but let's not forget, this isn't the first controversy. Whoopi alone has racked up enough scandals to fill a college syllabus. And between the growing backlash, the ratings roller coaster, the legal threats, and viewers calling out blatant hypocrisy, insiders are saying ABC execs are seriously considering a massive shakeup, if not a total shutdown. And honestly, they wouldn't be the first network to scrap a legacy show once it becomes more drama than it's worth. Add in the fact that advertisers are starting to side-eye the chaos, and it's a recipe for cancellation, or at least a full cast reboot. Meanwhile, on the outside, the public is watching everything unfold, and let's just say, the vibes. they are not good. Fans are speaking up, and social media is in shambles. TikTok users are dragging the show left and right, calling the hosts bullies and hypocrite. Twitter, or X if you want to be technical, is flooded with threads accusing the show of being toxic and outdated. Even YouTube comment sections under The View's own clips are being bombarded with people demanding Joy and Whoopi be fired. But the backlash isn't just noise, it's impacting the bottom line. Reports claim the ratings have taken a sharp dip, marking the third week in a row of consistent decline. That's not just a fluke, that's a warning shot. Viewers are tuning out, and not because they're bored, but because they're over the toxicity. These aren't just random internet trolls either. We're talking about the core demo, women between 25 and 49, educated, suburban, the exact group ABC depends on. And now, they're clocking out, fed up with the performative feminism and double standards. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think Whoopi and her co-hosts went way too far this time? Is Karoline overreacting? Or is she finally exposing the mess folks have been ignoring for years? And most importantly, do you think ABC is going to pull the plug on The View before it causes them even more drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm reading everything, y'all. And if you loved this deep dive and want more piping hot tea just like this, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss what's coming next.